Norman, how are you? Thanks for joining us, pal.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Hey, you've probably got more experience than anybody of coming back from long layoffs. How do you think the basketball is going to look when you finally get back together playing 5-on-5 for the first time in 4 months?
Um, I know. I think there's gonna be a little bit of growing pains. I know guys have been doing a lot of individual stuff. Once things rules and stuff kind of were open and guys able to get in the gym by themselves. But just the flow and feel of each other and just the flow of the game. You're gonna have an adjustment period. There's always a little bit. So I think it'll be all right, though. I think we have enough time to be able to get our rhythm and flow back and, be able to mesh and get back together to where we're playing.
Just one more, if I may. Have you decided what message you might put on your jersey, and how do you think that will have a long-lasting effect on the Black Lives Matter issues that society's facing?
I've had a couple of thoughts and quotes and things that I've thought about putting on the back of my jersey. Just narrowing it down. There's so much going on. There's so many things that you want to speak to and talk about. But just trying to find a message that kind of speaks to it all, and really stick. And it's personal to me. I have probably a list of like 10 or 12 that I'm narrowing down as the days get closer and closer to being able to decide. It's going to be a message that speaks not only to myself, but to the topic as a whole.
Thanks, Norm.
Next, we're going to go to Mike Ganter from the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Norm. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Just wondering, was there any hesitancy on your part about coming back, given either the health or the racial inequality protests that you may have wanted to take part in?
There wasn't really any hesitancy. I was with whatever we decided. If us as the players came together and said that we weren't going to play and we we're going to stand on these issues, I'm all for it. If we're going to come back and play, I'm going to use the platform that we have to speak about the issues and talk about this. I know that this platform is going to be unique and different, but I also know that it's going to be all eyes on us. And with it all being televised and every game is going to be shown that way, you can do a lot to show where you stand and speak on the matters that way. So I had both ways already planned out and how I was going to go about it. And, I'm ready. I think we're all, as a team, bought in and ready to get back playing. And we're also not just letting this be a distraction. And we're talking about these issues together and as a team, as an organization, and how we can go forward and voice our views and use this platform that we have to the best of our abilities.
And just on a far less serious note, to kind of get a feel of what you guys are going through down there, that hotel you're staying at, is that up to NBA standards where you guys would normally stay?
Yeah, the resort is really nice. They have all the amenities. The staff has done a great job in making sure that we're getting everything that we're used to. The organization has done a great job in making sure that we're comfortable and our needs are being met. And we're able to go off on a golf course and tennis and this and the other down here. So it's not the same as I was used to back home in Vegas and having my own place and being able to move around this and the other. But it's up to standards, and it's giving us a little taste of what it's going to be like in the bubble.
Great. Thanks, Norm.
Next, we're going to go to Josh Lewenberg from TSN.
Hey, Norm. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Just following up on Mike's question, Brooklyn and now Denver have recently had to shut down their facilities because of positive tests, and I'm sure you've seen what the numbers are in Florida. How high is your level of concern in terms of virus itself and whether it might disrupt the restart plan?
I'm concerned about it, just from a general standpoint of the numbers increasing and, the risk factor in all of this happening. But for myself, I know I'm taking and we're taking as an organization the necessary precautions and making sure that we're following each and every guideline to the T and just being very careful with how we do things and approach each and every day interactions with the coaches, players, and things like that. So from a risk standpoint here and being around the guys and the team, I'm not too concerned about it. But outside, I'm very concerned about just how dangerous it is, and I'm more concerned about my family members that are out, having to deal with going out in the public, going back to work, and putting themselves in danger of being able to catch the virus. So that's my general concern. But right here, where we're at, I'm not too worried about it.
A quick second question. Now that you've seen what the schedule looks like for those 8 regular season games, and it's not an easy one, I'm sure you guys have lots of different priorities that you're going to be working in terms of working guys back and health and all of that, and obviously winning games. How do you plan personally to approach those 8 games?
I approach them the same way I approached the regular season, and if we were, still in full swing of the season before the hiatus, the 8 games to really get ourselves going, get our flow and chemistry back. I know we got a couple of exhibition games before that, but it's the same focus and mindset. You can't, try to adjust and this, that, and the other. You have to have that same approach each and every game and figure it out as you go. It's going to be a different field with no fans and all of that, but the main focus is getting ourselves back to the level and where we want to be able to compete, and fight for a championship.
Thanks, Norm.
Next, we have Vivek Jacob from Complex.
Hey, Norm. Just wondering, as you guys have had conversations about racial injustice as a team, has the conversation also come to racial injustice in Canada and Toronto? And has there been a conversation about sending a message towards the issues here as Canada's team?
Yeah, we've talked about both sides of the spectrum. Racial injustice is not just happening in America; it's happening worldwide. And I think the focus has been on the United States, but for us, it's been a privilege to be the only team in Canada. And to have that platform and to speak out about the inequalities and injustices, both stateside and in Toronto and Canada as a whole. We're taking that very serious, and we have a very diverse team, mix of Canadians, Europeans, people from the United States, and everybody has their own personal stories, their own personal instances that they've experienced in their life. And we're trying to adjust it all. And that comes from talking about how we can put pressure, not pressure, but put on notice with MLSC and how we can reach out and do things in the community in Toronto and help there, but not only in Toronto, but also in our communities back home for each and every player. So I think this organization has done a great job of listening to the coaches, the people in the front office, the players, and how we can all come together and really make a statement, not only for ourselves, but as a whole and worldwide.
Thanks, Norm.
I'm going to go next to Kayla Gray from TSN.
Hey, Norm, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to ask, in conversations that you're having with other players around the league, in your experience, we talk about physically getting back. Mentally, how has this been for you? And is maybe this one of the toughest challenges mentally for you to get back into the game with all this going on with the coronavirus, but also with the racial injustices?
Mentally, I feel like I've been really good. I know a lot of guys, and you see a lot of guys come out and speaking on how they feel about starting back up and feeling like it's a distraction, and just how they feel about like their families. Thinking about not only just basketball, but more life. In general, it's more than just playing the game of basketball. It's how you deal with your family members, and a lot of guys have kids and things like that. But for me, mentally, I really strived and worked on my focus and things that I can control. So in terms of getting back and playing, I'm ready. I put the time in. I work tremendously hard on my game and things like that to improve and stay ready. But I've also taken the time now that I've had a bunch of time to actually do the things that I like and see what's going on in the world and how I want to affect and impact. It's been a good balance for me. And I think that I've done a great job in being able to use my voice and talk to the people around me, talk to the people in my community, and things that we can and change and coming together and build a strong, solid foundation for generations to come to keep this message alive and moving forward to equality for all. So for me personally, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a problem for me to be able to focus on both things at once. But it's just me. I can't speak for everybody else. But I've done a lot of hard work and just keeping my mental strong and focusing on what I can control.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to Mike Ganter from the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Norm. Have you seen Marc Gasol? There's been a few pictures pop up when he looks awfully thin. Is the change that drastic?
Yeah, the change is that drastic. I make fun of him all the time about him looking like a soccer player in Barcelona. But yeah, he looks great, man. He's moving great. And he's feeling great from talking to him. I'm supposed to be playing tennis with him either tomorrow or the next day. So hopefully I'll still be able to give him a run for his money.
All right, thanks.
Going to go next to Stephen Lung from Sportsnet.
Hey, Norm, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Chilling. How are you?
I'm good. Just kind of following up on what Mike was asking, what's the general conditioning of the team like right now? Has everyone come in in really, really good shape with them from what you've seen?
I think we've come in great shape. I think guys have done a great job of making the most of what they can, and working with what is available to them. There's no guys that are out of shape or, lagging behind. Everybody's in great general shape from me talking to the different guys on the team. And we feel good. Obviously we're a little bit rusty and we haven't been at this high quality of workouts and basketball for a while, but everybody's been doing what they can and everybody looks good, feel good, they're confident, and they're ready to get back into the full swing of things.
Thanks, Norm.
And we're going to finish off today with Doug Smith from the Toronto Star.
Hey, Norm, what do you think it's going to be like playing in front of no fans? We know athletes sort of feed off the emotion of the crowd and the noise and the energy. What do you think it's going to be like with nobody in the building?
I've said it multiple times. I feel like it's going to be like a glorified pickup game, with the talent level that's on the floor. But feeding off of each other, I think it's going to be an environment where you're going to need each and every one of your teammates, from the five guys starting to the guy at the end of the bench, rooting each other on, having the intensity on the bench and things like that. Since you don't have that ebb and flow of momentum with the home crowd or even the away crowd, so it's going to be a really tight-knit a group that's going to be feeding off of one another and helping one another out in this type of environment. But for me, I think it's just going to be 5-on-5. You go to the gym and you're playing against a bigger and better competition, and it's going to be all about your own will and desire and passion and drive to go out there and play and win.
So those 7-8 guys at the end of the bench who are celebrating every dunk, who get lost in a crowd of 20,000, now start to mean something.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. I know a couple of times, when guys make plays and this and the other, you see us like giving nods and stuff to the bench because we're excited and happy that we're making the winning plays and the winning hustle plays and decisions to put us in the best possible position to win. If you look at the game where we came back from 30, everybody on the bench is going crazy and we're feeding off that energy along as the crowd. But if you have that energy with the guys that you're going to war with, it means a little more, especially being able to hear them and hear their reactions, things like that.
Great. Thanks. I appreciate your time.